Today we will explain the spiral of silence theory. This theory mainly explains how public opinion is mostly safe, but people's fears of isolation. Individuals nowadays are constantly checking the environment to see which opinions are dominant. For example, if they have an opinion that is highly liked, they are more likely to speak up. On the contrary, if they believe that this opinion will not be well received, they tend to remain silent to avoid rejection. This is what creates the spiral effect. If people stay silent, the dominant opinions appear even stronger, encouraging even more silence. In conclusion, we can say that public opinion is a form of social control because minorities' opinion disappear from the public debate, even though some people agree with them privately. So, in this way, the spiral of silence controls social norms, culture, and even politics.
So, just to summarize a little bit, in both texts, public opinion is not seen as a form of shared belief between society and the public, but it's probably seen as a form to regulate our behavior in society. So, in the lecture, each one of the theories is criticized for its point. Like, for example, the agenda setting hypothesis is criticized because of its stimulus response explanation. And the cultivation theory is criticized because of its replication issues and causality problems. We founded some relations between last week's lecture and the reading. So we found many things in common, but we wanted to center on how public opinion can be a social power.
Now I will provide an example of the spiral of silence in the context of Spanish politics. We find ourselves at a political turning point where the spiral of silence is shifting and the will to speak is bigger for right-wing positions. This transition, Spain associated values like workers' rights or modernity with progressivism, but after certain scandals surrounding the government, the notion of common sense is now held by the right. Although Sanchez currently holds office, his supporters are the ones that are falling down the spiral of silence, and probably they won't be as open to share their views as they did in the 2019 election because of fear of social isolation. Leftist symbols are less powerful in this climate, and that is why a lot of leftist politicians are taking stances similar to the right, for the same reasons. We can see the reivindication of nationalistic symbols like the flag, or for example, Rufián wanting to prohibit the burqa.
Have you ever noticed how on social media one opinion suddenly seems to dominate everything? And everyone seems to agree, but you don't, and then you stay quiet. Well, this is what Elisabeth Noelle-Neumann said on her book, The Spiral of Silence. As my colleague Andrea said before, she argued that people fear the isolation more than being wrong. So, this means that when you sense that your opinion isn't popular, we silence ourselves. On platforms like Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, X, this happens every day. For example, when someone is cancelled as a public figure nowadays, thousands of voices criticize them publicly. Even when people privately disagree with them being cancelled, they keep it quiet. Because speaking out loud means they're gonna lose followers or they're gonna get harassments or they're gonna get criticized as well by defending this canceled one.